Greetings, everyone. I'm going to talk about books again today, so if you don't like books, fuck right off. I'm going to talk about audiobooks and Warhammer 40K. I'm going to play you a clip. I'm going to play you a clip, and then I'm going to show you some pictures. But first, I wanted to finish up on my last video. I forgot to talk about The Empire of the Damned. Jay Kristoff, Nevernight was another his series I liked. And I was reading the reviews of it, and somebody said they didn't like because he was a man writing about a woman's first time losing her virginity or something like that. Which is kind of weird because it seemed like a normal description of it to me. It doesn't seem like he got anything wrong. But I'm not a woman, so I don't know. Anyway, this one, there's like 3 sex scenes I was talking about, and like it gets really descriptive of like talking about like a vagina was like a swollen bud or something like that. So I was thinking about, like, this is supposed to be a guy telling this story to a vampire, and he's getting all this, like, graphic detail in the sex scenes. But then, like, the second or the third time he does it, the vampire says something, and he's talking about something totally different, and the vampire makes a comment, and he, like, comes out of character, and he says something like, "Oh, you didn't mind me talking about swollen buds and all that shit earlier, did you?" Just totally, like, fourth walled himself a little bit. It was funny. And also the voice of the character, Gabriel de Leon, the Black Lion of Lorson in this book, and like he makes him sound a lot like Logan Nine Fingers from the first Law trilogy. And like a gruff guy, he drinks all the time, he smokes. He kind of sounds like a barbarian, kind of a big muscular, just a brute kind of a dude. But then if you see any artwork of him, he's always like a skinnier, elfish kind of, looks like Robin Hood. He always wears like this pointy hat, like he wears all black. It's cold, so he's always like covered up in like clothes. So he doesn't really. And then they always talk with like a French accent, like Monsieur and Monsieur, and like everybody in this world, they evolved from French people, except for the shapeshifters that were like kind of Scottish. So kind of weird. Like, I don't know how they would do the audiobook of this, because they have to do, like, a French accent of a big, muscular guy, but then talking about sex scenes? Like, how would you do the voice? So, anyway, audiobooks, I hear, like, some of them are really good, like, the people who read them, the narrators, some of them are different than the other ones. So, I didn't want to do any audiobooks for my, like, all these books I've been trying to read, because I don't really consider it the same. Plus, it's like, I don't know, just if you read it yourself. I've seen some problems with audiobooks. I've started listening to the Warhammer ones because I thought, what is Warhammer? Let me get into it. I want to find out about the lore of Warhammer. I started researching it, and apparently, what was that, 339 or something like that books in the Warhammer Black Library, they call it. And we'll go to this screen. This is, I don't know if this is all of them. Does that look like 339 books, maybe? On somebody's bed? I don't know if this was before. Like, they're probably coming out with new ones all the time. So, there's different reading orders. There's chronological, there's publication order, there's, like, if you want to, like, skip the earlier books called the Horus Heresy, which is what I've started on. Because the Horus Heresy is supposed to be like 2,000 years before the main story that takes place with all like the games and the tabletop. That's another thing. You got all these like figures, action figures and stuff that you paint for the tabletop shit. And the armor is ridiculous. Like, think of Warcraft armor, but even crazier. If you haven't seen, like, it doesn't even make sense. And then you listen to the audiobook, they're describing it like the Space Marines or the, what were they called? The Astarta, something like that. Something to do with stars, I think, like Space Marines. They said they're as big to a regular person as like a child to them, so they're like almost twice as big as a normal man. So then you get the Primarch, and the Primarch is like half again as big as they are to another man. So it's like, how do you keep going up like that big of a size when the people inside the armor are supposed to be the same size? It's kind of like that, the problem they had when the Fallout armor, they showed how the arms would be all stretched out and weird if they were actually, their arms were where it's supposed to be. Here's another picture of like I guess there's a collector's edition version of all this. They're all like numbered, and you put them all together. This whole giant wraparound image keeps going. Like, if you think of the edge of the shelf, it keeps going to the next shelf and the next shelf. Like, this is yellow, this is yellow, this is blue turning into gray. Like, this is one big giant panoramic image. I don't think this is all 330, whatever, 9 of them are there. But, pretty cool collection. Anyway, obviously I'm not going to be able to like physically read all that many books. So, started listening to the audiobook. And the narrator for the Horus Heresy... Oh, there's also like... There's like this... the Eisenhorn saga is another way people recommend. Or the Eisenhorn trilogy. It's like this Inquisitor... And it's supposed to tell you a lot about the political and ideological aspects to the world. That's kind of what I want to know. I didn't realize how philosophical Warhammer was going to be. It was pretty dope. There's also the Uriel Ventris Chronicles. You can start there, or you can pretty much... They say you can just like read a few core books, and then you can just like go off on any book that looks interesting to you, and like go off on rabbit trails, and you don't have to read them in order or anything. Night Lords Omnibus, Theophis Cain. Oh, there's like this rift apparently that happens or something. So there's like a pre-rift and a post-rift, and there's like a the 2,000 years before all of it is when the Horus Heresy stuff happened. Plus, I was mowing the yard, which is my voice is full of grass, and it's hard to hear exactly what's going on in the audiobook. And like when they start describing locations and stuff, and like this guy has this color armor, and this guy has this giant gold aluminum cast plasteel armor or something, I'm like, just kind of zone out. And I start thinking about other stuff, and I like can't pay attention, and like it skips in my mind. He was like in a battle, then all of a sudden he's like walking along after the battle or talking to somebody about something. I'm like, wait, what happened? How did that resolve? But it's cool because it starts out. They're attacking Earth, I think. It said there was 9 planets with a yellow sun, and they went to the 3rd planet from the sun. Obviously, they're talking about Earth, and they find like the guy that's in charge of Earth. I guess he had like these big robes on, and he was saying like, "Why did you come here? Like you could have just passed us by. We weren't doing anything to you. You could have just left us alone." Because I don't know how it's like people left Earth and then they evolved and they came back to Earth. Or those are just different human beings that evolved in a whole different space area, or star systems, or whatever. And then, like, they're coming for mankind or something. And they're trying to, like, I didn't realize this was the dopest part of it that I liked. I didn't know I was going to like it this much. They're basically all atheists, at least in the Horus Heresy. In the early parts. Maybe the heresy part is that they don't want to be atheists or something. And maybe in the later books they're all like super religious or something. But, yeah, let me play this clip because it talks about why they're all atheists or something. There's this one dude. I thought his name was Malagaro or something. Malagos, like the dragon in Warcraft. But it's Canadus or Canadian? Let me play this guy. It's dope. Oh, the narrator also, he sounds a little bit like David Attenborough. He's British, but he's not like sleepy like David Attenborough. Which, he does a lot of voices of the different characters, so he gives them all different voices. I don't know if everybody does that, or if that's... And there's also like this new kind of audiobook where they don't just do the voices, they play like sound effects. If somebody's walking or swinging a sword, they play sound effects. It's like a enhanced audiobook, I think they call them. So I need to check some of those out. But this is a clip of him giving a speech before these legion of Space Marines about their mission. And this is right before the main character Logan gets selected to join this group called... I forgot the name of it. Naismiths? They were talking about Naismiths. They're like naysayers. What the fuck was it called? Anyway, it's a group of people that are supposed to be chosen to represent humanity. Like they detected that there's some kind of philosophical humanity to them or something. Or they're smarter than everybody else. And they're given the ability to speak their mind to the Primarch or the Emperor or whatever and like say whatever you fuck you're thinking. Like, be a voice of dissension. Don't just be like a yes man and like say maybe we shouldn't do this or you're doing this wrong, and like have no fear of repercussions, like they're gonna like kill you or something over it. So this is this guy's giving this speech about not believing in gods and religion anymore. So here we go.
He had a commanding presence, but it was his voice that really mattered. A soft, clean voice that communicated reason and sincerity and trust. It was a voice worth searching through 100,000 people to find. Sinderman continued.
Sinderman.
Great actions have shaped our society. The greatest of these physically has been the Emperor's unification of terror, the outward sequel to which this great crusade we are now engaged upon. But the greatest intellectually has been our casting off of that heavy mantle called religion. A religion damned our species for thousands of years. It drove us to madness, to war, to murder. It hung upon us like a disease, like a shackle ball. I'll tell you what religion was. Ignorance. Since the earliest times, our species has striven to understand the workings of the cosmos, and where that understanding has failed, we have filled in the gaps with blind faith. Why does the sun go round the sky? I don't know. So I will attribute it to the efforts of a sun god with a golden chariot. Why do people die? I can't say, but I will choose to believe it is the murky business of a reaper who carries souls to some afterworld. His audience laughed. Sinderman got down off his podium and walked to the front steps of the stage, beyond the range of the vox mics. Though he dropped his voice low, its trained pitch carried his words throughout the chamber. Religious faith existed to make us all more comfortable and content in the face of a measureless cosmos. They were bolsters for the soul, crutches for the intellect, prayers and lucky charms to help us through the darkness. But we have witnessed the cosmos now. We have seen the stars from behind, and found they have no golden chariots carrying them abroad. We have realized there is no need for gods, and by extension no use any longer for demons or spirits. The greatest thing mankind ever did was to reinvent itself as a secular culture. His audience applauded this wholeheartedly. Sinderman turned away as if finished, and then swung back again as the clapping petered out, his voice even softer and more penetrating. But what of faith? Faith has a quality, even when religion has gone. We still need to believe in something, don't we? Here it is. The true purpose of mankind is to bear the torch of truth aloft and shine it, even into the darkest places. To share our understanding with the dimmest reaches of the cosmos, to emancipate those shackled in ignorance, to free ourselves and others from false gods, and take our place at the apex of sentient life. That is what we may pour faith into. That is what we can harness our boundless faith to.
Dope. So they're just a bunch of big atheists, dude. That's cool as fuck. So then he gets into this group of people that's supposed to like basically spread this ideology around, and like they take him to this place that are pretty much acting like Freemasons, like a secret society, and doing all this ritual. And it's like first fucking thing is they start doing all these rituals. He's like, "Hey guys, I don't believe in all these spirits and shit. Like, what are we doing here?" And it's like, "Oh, we use the old ways to make you feel comfortable," or something like that. And so you take it seriously. It's he kind of got weird. I feel like, I don't know, the people are in leadership, they seem like they're gonna be bad guys, but I'm agreeing with everything they're saying. I'm like, yeah, fuck, these guys are great. So I don't know if I'm rooting for the bad guys or what, but I feel like I'm on almost disc 3 out of 5. I'm already halfway through this. All I did was like play a little bit of work and I mowed the yard. So audiobooks apparently go by really fast. think that's all I really had to say about Warhammer. I also wanted to mention Suneater, Christopher Rucchio. I'm on book 2. It's really good so far. I'm not thinking I'm going to like it more than the first book, though. Because the first book, it's not like the quality's gone down. Quality's still good. But the first book has stuff that I like. Like a rich guy losing everything, having to like come back from nothing, and then getting thrown into a coliseum like Spartacus. These are all things I'm just big fans of. So the second book, I don't know if something's going to happen later that just blows my mind, because everybody says the second book is fucking crazy good, and then Emperor in White, some people say it's the best book, but I don't know. Plus, I don't think a lot of people have read the later books to know if they're better than the first 3, so maybe those are better, because people just haven't gotten around to them yet. So, really hyped about it. Yeah, it's like, they're taking this alien, it kind of reminds me of Mass Effect. They got this one alien. They had like several of them, but they had to like break off from the main group because they wanted to like quit this peace mission and just go back to the war, which is going to take them years to get back to. Like, what's the point? Like, we're already out here. Let's just finish this. But like, they steal the one alien leader guy and they sell some of his blood to this one guy to like take him to the secret planet that's not even near a sun, and to get passage on this massive ship. It's so big, it fits other ships inside of it. And it's like 100 miles long, or something like that. That they heard about it from this dealer in this ring city that's like around a star that's like still forming planets. It's so new. So dope. The epic scale of this sci-fi story kind of got a little bit... Sometimes I get them mixed up with the Warhammer stuff because they're both sci-fi. So I probably shouldn't do two same genres at the same time. But, yeah, and then he meets this oracle that kind of tells him, like, his past is broken because he fell into some water that had these nano, not bots, but, like, animals, like, an organism that shows him time or something, that he can see time, kind of like the oracle tree in Kingkiller Chronicles. And he said, because in the first book, when he's on the ship going somewhere and he wakes up and the ship's disappeared, and he doesn't know what happened, like his ship got taken over and he got dumped out on this planet. That part of his history is like a hole that this guy can't see the trace it back or whatever, because something must have happened right there. It's just kind of freaks you out. Like, he keeps thinking about it. Anyway, super good book. Nothing wrong with it. Yeah, that's it.